Hello everyone, welcome back to the final part of PS1 Haunted Demo Disc collection for Flipside Frights. This is the end. We're going to go through this, we're going to get the final cutscene. We've played all 24 games, and then we're going to do a ranking. So, let's get the final cutscene, shall we? Oh no. Is he going to be okay? Evil Scully. The tiny baby one. What are you doing? Oh my god! Oh, he's alive again!
I'm alive.
Yeah, they're actually friends!
You're quite something. I was judging you for nothing, I guess.
Yeah, there we go. You shouldn't judge an adorable little guy for being adorable. Oh? What's that? Where are you going? Wait, is there a 25th game?
Was that a portal to hell?
What's going on? Oh my god. What is going on? Did they hide a 25th game on here? No, I think that's it. Weird cliffhanger, I guess, as to what's going to happen last time, but that was Flipside Frights. I hope you all enjoyed. That was a long series, but it was nice to get something like this after Madvent. That didn't happen last year. I guess if this had released when it was going to, but without tech issues, I would have done this during December. But without that last year, I ended up doing other things instead. But yeah, now that this is done, I can record other things again. Yay! I'm free. Like, this hasn't been like the longest series ever, because there's been parts that have been like 20 or 30 minutes long. But what a great collection of games! It's difficult to lift this on the top of my head because of how many there were, but I will go through like a ranking of them afterwards. Won't be a long ranking, be about 10 to 20 minutes long. Just want to talk about a couple of the games and trying to get a general idea of where they left me in terms of enjoyment. The games I want to play, the games I don't want to play, but I don't think any of the games were bad at all. Unlike Madvent, where some of the games felt unfinished or rushed and like really short, this felt like, I mean, all these games are going to become full releases at some point. Like, The Hungry Fly is literally out right now. And yeah, it's been a wonderful time going through this, and I cannot wait to see what they do next. There are actually collections from the Haunted Demo Disc collection people that I haven't played. I haven't played the chain games yet. I think the first few demo discs I didn't go through, but I'll probably hold off on those. But we'll see if they do Madvent again. They might. Madvent 4 felt like the last one, because they probably couldn't get people together for that. But yeah, great animations as usual, very charming, very adorable. I love the different styles they went for, how this isn't just horror, this is embracing all the facets of PS1 Demo Disc. That being the horror stuff, and also the less horror stuff, like a 2D platformer, or 3D platformer in that case, a graphic novel game. Like, a PS1 Demo Disc is not limited to that, and limiting yourself to just that one specific genre can be, I don't know, debilitating, I think, when it comes to these things. But yeah, E3 was great, this is great. I cannot wait to play more of whatever these guys bring out, what devs they bring along. If they decide to do another chain at some point, I don't know. But yeah, that's it. And now, how do I stop this? Select, end, back. Maybe there's a new game here. No. Well, that's it. I hope you all enjoyed. We're going to go to the ranking screen now, so I'll see you guys at that in a sec. So awkwardly, I didn't click the record button while I was going through the tier list. I thought I did, but apparently I did not. So I'm going to quickly go through these now, and we'll start from Blair and make our way up. So Citizen Hell and Juice, one of the main issues I had with a lot of these demos is they were very short. Blessed Burden also kind of fits into that as well. I didn't really get a good experience when it came to Blessed Burden. I think that game was a little bit too short and not enough to really understand that game's whole vibe. Juice, as I mentioned during the actual recording, I just did not get this game's what it was going for. Like some kind of death simulator where you just ate people. Carrion felt like it had a point to it, where you were learning new mechanics. And this, you were just destroying fleets and fleets of people. And I just don't want to play a game like that. I just don't want to play a game where I just murder millions of people. And then the flip side of that is just watching the world be destroyed. Again, I wish there was a point to that, but it just felt like, oh, you're watching the world end. It's like, okay, cool. Citizen Hell, a game that I wanted to like, but its mishmash of mechanics just confused me in the end, and I didn't really get a good idea of what I was meant to do there. Financial Caliber Contract, again, I'm not too sure if this game is meant to be ironic or unironic in its flash game nature. Maybe it is, but I don't like how it's structured. I think having the objectives be so off the beaten path and difficult to identify made it very confusing in the end. And while I enjoyed the movement tech in this game, the actual substance in terms of direction felt a bit off. Aether Singularity, cool powers like Eve mechanics, again too short though to really get behind, and the dialogue moving without being able to control it was a bit awkward. As I mentioned, Blessed Burden was too short to really get an opinion. Spirit Walker, I liked collecting the pumpkins. The combat was a bit boring, and the game went on for a bit too long, and the pacing was a bit too slow, I think. The enemy designs were good. A lot of these games have great, they look great, I think. I think all these games that I've talked about up until now have been great, look wonderful. But I think I needed a little bit more in this sort of shooter. Soul kind of falls in that too. The direction it went for was not my cup of tea. You can just run past enemies. The boss fight felt slow because you have to wait until your sword is fully charged before you can hit things. The menuing was a bit tedious as well. Again, it's a demo. The atmosphere was interesting, and I can't wait to see what the devs do more with this. No Strings Attached is connected to the Vladimir Law collection of games. It's a 2D clock tower-esque survival game where you run through a house and solve some light puzzles, and that's kind of it. I like the pixel art cutscenes. Reminded me of UFO 50 a little bit. But not a whole lot going for it, I would say. Hungry Fly is just not a game for me. I don't want to fly around as a fly and eat things. I think the demo as well felt a bit kind of like it shot itself in the foot a little bit. Mainly because you play in the demo half the time as a wall spider, not as the fly, which is the name of the game. I feel like you should play as the fly, and that should be how they show you the demo for it. But if that's how they want to frame the story, that's fine. You can eat a caterpillar and let them want to be eaten, I guess, and take part in some grotesque puzzle solving. Children of Saturn reminded me of VHS. There was even a reference to VHS in that game. I drew a banana on the wall. Again, a bit too short to form an opinion, I think. But I'm interested to see what they do with it at the very least. Trip, I think, again, too short to really form an opinion. I like some of the style they went for with the walking simulator here. The looping train carriage is a very novel concept, and again, I think the graphics are good. So I want to know more about these delightfully colourful characters. Tori Saturn, very fast pace. I think one of the levels was literally a reference to Sonic Adventure 2, so you know what they are kind of riffing off a little bit of this game. Better controls. I'd like to be able to use the gamepad a little bit better, and I don't like being forced to keyboard and mouse with a 3D platformer. But great animations, great graphics. I'm looking forward to see what these devs do, I think, of Tori Saturn. I have noticed how 2 of the games in this are both called Saturn. Tiki's Tower of Time. I think it has the potential to be great, but as I was talking about in the footage that is now gone, It being a very, very tight 3D platformer is a little bit awkward, especially if they're trying to emulate an N64 style. I think it being a little bit more free-flowing and a little bit more forgiving would go a long way in making it more enjoyable. But if they go down the tracks of making it an unforgiving 3D platformer, that's not going to gel well with me. The Lacerator, very tongue-in-cheek when it came to 80s slasher horror. The fact that limbs being lost is permanent, obviously, is great. I love the fact that I lost my gun in that way, but again, a couple of things in terms of the combat being a bit slow and sluggish, and the fact that you can't quick turn and run away from people that easily is a bit awkward. Maybe that's intentional, but I don't like that. I don't like the fact that that was intentional in this case, at the very least. But the cool style reminded me of Puppet Combo a little bit. Axis. I got a comment from the devs about this game. I think it's a cool little puzzle orb game where you can flip gravity and go down different dimensional planes. It sets out to do what it achieves, I think. I think that it does that fine, and I can't wait to see more of it. A very good demo that gave you enough levels to play around with, and yeah, nothing really bad to say about it. Forklift Flower Pot, ignoring the fact that it had a sequence break at the end of it, I think the graphics are crazy. It's very unique in how it presents itself. Green, weird statues. I wish it felt more like a game where you were being a forklift. It felt like that was like you just carry things around and solve little puzzles involving botany. A lot of having to look at guides to make sure I was doing everything correctly, but it was fine. Subversive Memories, Signalis, kind of inspired, I feel. Great graphics, great look to it, puzzles were fun. Want to see more of it. I thought it was cool. Eclipsium, one of the last games I played. Probably the scariest one outside of Death and Abyss, maybe. I think Death and Abyss maybe has a beat a little bit, just because of the scariest part of Eclipsium was that sound design when I fell in the water. But I love the weird, like, realistic hands on the screen. Graphics are great. It very psychological and a good walking simulator. Death and Abyss, wonderful game, wonderful. Star Fox inspired, fighting terrifying sea creatures. If you have thalassophobia, you're not going to enjoy this. Very difficult though, and that difficulty curve is going to be a lot for a lot of people. It definitely caught me off guard as well. But it was cool. I liked it. I want to see more of it. Friend Shapes, an hour-long demo that I kind of wanted to be a little bit longer, just to kind of understand more about the gameplay. Yes, I could have jumped back into it because it was a roguelike, but I kind of wanted to see more, and the tutorial system being a little bit more introduced, like a little bit more integrated into the actual narrative. Maybe we'll get that with the full game, but I liked the style of it. I liked how it used memories and digressions, and how this weird afterlife world of trying to find who you are, and that being combined with psychological horror. The final boss being a literal anxiety attack. It's very interesting. Prison of Husks, I mean, I've talked to death about how I love this game's style. Music was great, that one boss before the end was good. I think the tutorials and the demo itself were a little bit weird. That whole part where you had to run past the enemies to get to your first actual weapon was weird, because they didn't tell you to do that, and I thought I had to kill them or something with something I didn't have. And then the fact that in your first combat tutorial they gave you a stronger than normal enemy to deal with was also weird. Like even Dark Souls 3, the graveyard gives you some regular enemies you can just kill just to learn how to play before you fight the first box. Angeline Error, I love this. I've been following it for a year and a bit now. I cannot wait to play the full release. Very tongue-in-cheek RPG, great ideas and systems, constantly innovative, constantly adding new ideas. I think it was a lot of fun. Last time I saw you, again, not something I would have expected to see in this collection, but I had a good time with it. I had a good time with this weird Night in the Woods style yokai 2D animated game, and how it directed its story and how it told its how it did its combat was also a lot of fun. Finally, the first game I played, no players online. I enjoyed how this game felt so unique. The idea of video games having souls and merging those souls together to create new game experiences is such a cool idea, that I want to see more of it. Pretty scary, not the scariest game in the world. Capture the flag elements, obviously, and, you know, MS-DOS inspired as well. I had a good time with this. I think overall, had a wonderful time with a lot of these games. I mean, a lot of them fit into the great tier. There were some games I didn't really mesh well with, but maybe you enjoyed them. I don't know. I'm not the purveyor of horror games. I enjoy a couple of them, but I don't enjoy all of them. But I had a wonderful time doing this series. It was a lot of fun to get through all of these. Similar to Madvent, I had a good time with that. And yeah, I'm annoyed I lost the footage for the first, like, 20 minutes of this, because I had some good stuff I said, but I went over the general points of what I said before, I think. But yeah, that's it. I'll maybe bring up some of these games later in Quick Harvest at some point in the future, but I'll definitely be following to see what the team do next, and I'll probably record that as well. So, ciao for now, and goodbye.